This video I have an old Telecom 802, it likely was. Well, someone's completely obliterated that, so that's a bit dodgy. But this one's only really interesting because it's got one of these aftermarket dials in it, and this is different to other ones I've got. Pretty horrible one. Buttons don't feel very good. Can't remember if I did a video on one of these before. But this was the most common looking sort of one, LED on it. Fairly decent buttons. But they did make a few even cheaper versions. And yeah, this phone's a bit sun damaged. Cords are very light colour for some reason. Even got a free double adapter and 605 or whatever plug converted to modular or RJ or 603 it is. But we'll have a quick look inside. It's probably not going to be all that interesting. And just see if we can find out anything on this aftermarket dial. And whether there's anything else interesting in here. Yeah, that one's got the whole, that's an old wall phone I think. Board. This is Shibuya, Taiwan. El Formosa. And yeah, a little read relay that does the sort of switching or the pulsing for decadic dialing. Some sort of chip that converts the buttons and probably has a little memory function in there maybe for redial. Oh, this one here, I've never seen anything like this. What the hell is this? It's got a 3.5mm connection in there. This might tell us what sort of phone it is. 801-802. So that doesn't really help a lot. Oh, here we go. What have we got here? STC75. I can't remember what year they changed, but I think that it makes it an 802. PCA 275. Our reefers aren't cracked up there. Well, they're AEE made in Australia. Basically the same as a reefer capacitor. Epoxy resin, although that, is that a crack there? That one does have a crack after all. It's a pretty standard, I think we just got the standard old mic. STC75. Oh, we've got a blue piece, but sometimes I think they just used random recycled plastic or something for the inserts. But it should be a standard handset. It's got a grey one. What's that saying? A STC 4T75. So it looks like it's all pretty much original 75 phone. Don't have a date on there. I think someone said there is some of these phones have a date on some of these pieces. But that is one of the weirder ones I've ever seen. Someone's taped that up in there. So 3.5mm plug. Possibly original to that piece. What does it say here? Something 1676. Someone's written a few things on it. There's a couple of things stamped on it. Probably some sort of quality control. That looks like a battery, but I don't know what's actually in there. Surely they didn't put a battery in there. Is that just some sort of old school? That might be a big read relay, I guess. It's got a 4011 chip. 14419, 14409 I think. What's it say here? Component side. EMP. Rather weird one. How does this stay in here? What have they done to jam that in there? It rotates. Because you took the dial out. There should just be a round hole. Oh, does it have two pieces that clamp together? So you did, yeah, but I reckon you take the screws out. Because I was just thinking, do we take these screws out? It's actually got two pieces that clamp together, I'm guessing. Again, these other ones just sat in the old mounts. And you just put the case over it like with a normal dial, factory dial. So this one's a very weird looking thing, but that's what happens when you've got aftermarket stuff, is people can make every kind of weird design. Who knows, maybe this was a more universal one that you could use around the world or something. And they just changed the connections to suit the phone in each country or something. Yeah, that's what it does, that comes off. Rather yellowed buttons. They're a bit better when more of them sticks out. They don't feel quite so bad now, but they're not the nicest. Yeah, it's got an EMP on there, 40-0038-01. So EMP is probably the people behind it. Can we lift that up and see anything interesting? Don't think it really says where it was made or anything. Maybe this is more of an American one or something. Those buttons seem a bit more American. Here we go. Yes, an AW4523. No, that's a completely different number. AW45-2003-00 Rev 2. And it's got KBA 60 2003 maybe 00 Rev 2. Etco 1450A. Possibly gold plated. And we've got some more details here. PCBA 60-1003, and then someone's written -15 Rev 3 maybe. Yeah, no idea what these stamps are. That almost looks like it's got an 82 on it, which is probably around the time it came out. But not a lot of info on it. And I'm guessing, yeah, what sort of connections has that thing got? It's got 4 at each end. Does this cover come off without breaking anything? Must be the reed relay, I think. Bridge rectifier, some big transistor. Don't know what that inductor is. Lots of diodes. Looks like they're for the keyboard. So is this some sort of crude way of feeding the signal into those chips? Each key, how many connections we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at least, plus a couple others. So maybe each key's a separate switch, and they've got to use diodes to code them or something, rather than sort of matrix setup for the keys, rows and columns. But yeah, quite an interesting piece. And this phone was, they were only asking $15 for it, so I thought I'd grab it just because it's got an interesting one of these aftermarket dials in there, one you don't see every day. Yeah, no other signs of dates on this thing. But can't remember ever seeing one that was in 2 pieces like that before. So it's at least a little bit more interesting than the usual aftermarket dial. But these I don't think were ever actually legal as such. They didn't like you modifying their phones. All these phones were rental phones anyway, so technically they were all the property of Telecom. Not sure if you could actually purchase them at all, even a business or something, but maybe. But usually these were just rented out and that was it. And you weren't meant to modify anything. And I don't think there's no safety concerns so much with these, because you're not going to be, there's no power connection to the 240 volts or anything that could get in and on the lines and be a shock hazard to technicians or consumers. But they were worried also about all the technical specifications that it you know, didn't interfere with the equipment by sending out wrongly timed pulses or something, which would cause it to misdial, I guess, or hang up the equipment in the exchange, or, oh, we still don't know what that is. I completely forgot about that wire. What if it's some external, just two wires there. Yeah, just on the tip and the outer. I don't know what that would have been. Rather odd. I guess I should have left that taped in place, but we can shove that in there somewhere because you don't want it hitting on your bells and stuff. Yeah, 75 coil. So a bit of 80s aftermarket, and likely frowned upon. A lot of these came out before there was any deregulation. Not sure that there were ever actually approved ones of these, because like I said, these phones all technically belong to Telecom Australia, or the PMG as it was before it became Telecom Australia, and the government rented them to you, so they probably never got approved, whereas actual aftermarket telephones eventually, somewhere in the early to mid 80s, started being approved, and you could buy your one at Dick Smith or whatever and take this thing back and save you $40 a year or whatever it was to rent one of these off Telecom and the government, basically. But anyway, that's something a little bit different. I think I prefer this style of one. These were quite good. Can't remember if we actually bought one, but we used to have this exact colour phone at home back then, and I do get a feeling we might have actually bought one of these and put it in there, but I can't remember for sure. And yeah, still can't remember what that red light actually did. But I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at that. It's just another variant on these buttons. I think there's quite a few different manufacturers. I wouldn't be surprised if there's up to 10 different types of these things that got sold by various people that imported them. But anyway, that's that one covered, so thanks for watching.